Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. MacDonald in the morning, 9:31 a.m., Friday, February 5th. And that little ditty called No Warning by King Crimson is about exactly how I feel these days. What can I tell you? Anyways, we're going to have a grand old time here today. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about things morbid and benign. And we're going to hash them out and see where this whole live radio show takes us. Joining me are Jimmy Jean and John Z. Jimmy, are you there?
I am here. What's happening, man? Yes, I am here.
Ain't found a way to kill me yet. Eyes burn with stinging sweat. Seems every path leads me to nowhere. Wife and kids, household pet. Army green was no safe bet.
The bullet screams from
Wow.
from somewhere. Here they come. Bruce, here they come.
Yep.
Yeah, they come to snuff the rooster. Yeah.
They're coming to snuff the rooster, Bruce.
Are they going to get more chickens? Have they thought?
You don't need roosters.
Yeah, you do. They inseminate the females.
I don't know. I guess it's all over when you snuff the rooster. For eggs, anyway.
It's a bit of a mixed metaphor. Bit of a mixed metaphor song to play to a guy who farms.
I know.
John Z, how are you?
John Z, yeah.
Stand at attention, sir, or you will be standing tall before the man. Do you understand me? Oh, look at this. You write "Born to Kill" on your helmet and wear a peace sign on your lapel. Can you explain that to me, John Z? Are you there? Oh, look, he's gonna have a little cry now because I put him on mute. He doesn't realize he's on mute because he's gonna blame it on me. Watch this. Are you there? No, he's left. Okay, well, he had his chance. We're dropping him like a sack of potatoes.
John Z.
This is live radio. We don't fool around here, folks.
John Z has left the building.
It's on your mind, Jimmy. I don't really, we can talk about anything, really. There are no restrictions on what we can talk about. I just, I can't be doing the drama anymore. I can't. I mean, it's either going to work out or it's going to come down to sometime in the future. A year, 2 years, 3 years, the point will come where we're all laying down in grass looking through a scope. It's either going to work itself out or we go to the scopes. I don't know. What's your thinking?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the My Pillow guy is coming out today. He's got a big thing happening. He's going to show the election fraud, and it's a big promotion going on all over the place.
Does anybody sleep on his pillows? Like, what? Are they any good?
I know a lot of people that have the My Pillow.
Yeah, I'm always looking for a good pillow.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know how the My Pillow guy got in the situation that he's in, but somehow the My Pillow guy is trying to be the last guy to save America. And so he's riding to the rescue today with something that he's done. I guess he's got a production, some documentary thing that he's done. That's coming out.
Oh, well.
So.
Well. Okay.
He's going to prove. He's going to.
How much longer?
He says he's going to prove it beyond the shadow of a doubt or whatever. So we'll see.
Yeah, but even then, it's not going to matter. I mean, we have proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that Mena, Arkansas was the landing point for literally hundreds of metric tons of cocaine in the 80s, and nothing has happened to Bill Clinton or Hillary, right? You can prove a lot of things and nothing changes. I really think that there are some untouchable people on this planet. You know, that middle book I you remember that middle book I was working on before this one with Andrew, Light of Darkness. You met Bob off air. You had a call with him. I asked him. I said, "Hey Bob, what's going on here, man? Is this going to amount to anything? All of this political stuff?" And he just said, "No, it's just going to grind and grind and grind and grind like this." And that's all it seems to be doing is just grinding out, right? Like it's laborious, man.
Yeah, well,
Laborious.
it's definitely grinding out day by day. People are, infatuated and entranced with fairy tales. Meanwhile, the real world's moving quite, fast. I mean, I just saw,
I
I think saw a thing
yeah,
earlier before I came on, that Mastercard is ready to go cashless in a lot of countries already. I mean, they just did a big report and turned it in, and it looks like, they're headlong, moving into this dystopic future that everybody's so scared about. Time has come, man. They're here. The rubber has met the road. I think, and
yeah.
I just, I don't see, honestly, personally, from a futurist perspective, I don't see a way forward on the internet without positive identification. So
Come on.
I don't see the internet being able to move forward into the future without you being Bruce MacDonald, who's on the internet, doing what you're doing, and you're completely positive ID'd, because this eliminates a lot of this stuff that goes on the internet that they want to get rid of. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
now when you search for something, it is you, and there's no question. That also brings into focus the fact that once they have this type of identification system, this opens up the whole smart city um, network. The nice system, that's it's a software hovering over these potential smart cities, and each smart city will be like a node on a network. And I don't
Yeah.
mean this is happening in some days far 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 away. Obviously, because I mean they've got this ethos internet that we talked about before on your show.
Yeah.
It's a blockchain internet, and the way they're putting it forward is, oh yeah, we lost our internet, let's take it back with the new blockchain internet. And it's like, um, I just see us moving into this future where ID is going to be key for everything, especially in light of what's been going on with this whole debacle that's happened here, with the election and everything.
Yeah, I think well, I mean, technically, folks, we're always ID'd when we're on the internet, right? Most countries are using a high-end provisioning hardware and software right now, and it identifies you right to your MAC address.
Yeah, but
So
they
I mean,
can't. But they
you can
can't.
go in and
They
yeah,
they can't know that it was actually you. If you have a computer
yes,
in your house, there's nobody to say that your nephew didn't come on and
yeah,
search that up. But the
yeah,
thing is that the biggest thing, the biggest ring to grab is this identification ring. Now, the thing is the way that this could even start to happen is to allow the old internet to just fall apart and turn into junk. And just because there is internet too already. I mean, it's already there, and in conjunction with the satellite systems, I mean, there's a whole nother kind of internet that's going to be available to people. And I think once they get a taste of it, they will all want it, because the old
yeah,
internet will be clunky and junky. It'll be for the people who refuse to take the vaccines and, all this. The old internet will just be a junky,
Eh,
clinky place where people go that, are refusers.
I I don't know,
John
man.
Z.
That's definitely a possibility. I would kind of category put that in the category of mainstream internet. Um, you know, so what's it been? Yeah. So 4 years it's been. With the whole Trump thing and the fake news and Russia Gate and Pizzagate and all this fun stuff, right? Um, Specifically with the social media platforms, in the last, I would say, year specifically, it's gotten to the point where it's if you don't play nice, if you don't play by the rules, if you rock the boat, you're going to get shut down on the mainstream platforms. And as I'm sure you know, there's a big push right now for, lack of a better term, alternative um, social media. And
Mhm.
the cool thing about blockchain is that works both ways. So yeah, you might be right. You might not be part of the cool kids club, the government sponsored internet and all that fancy stuff. But the trade off would be is that you have your own sort of kind of, I don't want to say closed networks, but you have a very more tightly um, community based system or platform, and it goes back to the old days, kind of like the old dial-up boards, if you could remember those.
Yeah, this is like you're saying, John. To expand on it, it's almost like there can be no censorship in a sense on a blockchain style internet setup. It's totally it's there. No one could censor you or do anything to your site. Your site can exist by itself, and that's what's exciting. There's so many potentialities to it, but and at the same time, it's a big place to if you're somebody and you're trying to figure out what am I going to do in this in the future because my old job's not there anymore. One of the things that they're doing right now is there's a big push for blockchain developers. So there's people out there right now that'll train you how to be a blockchain developer and help you get a job after, and they get a chunk of it, but they don't cost you nothing to get into it if it's something you want to get into. Because the way they were describing it, John, is that the way that it will be, that they'll be able to just modify things on the fly. Any kind of application for any device that's connected to this new blockchain internet, they'll be able to, change the software at will and all this stuff. It sounds quite exciting.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know about you, but every time I've tried to use Flash on an Apple device, I'm immediately reminded that it's not there because they don't want it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, you know, most people will be like this about it. Well, I don't do anything wrong. So, it's just like when the whole Bush administration was in there and they got this whole meme going. The whole, the German ministers saying, he's like, you know, we just keep telling it to him over and over again. And, I'll say it 3 times and, it goes through. And then they taught everybody to say, well, if you're not a terrorist, then what are
Yeah,
you worrying about? You just give me your information, or else you're a terrorist. You're either with us or you're with them, right? And so everybody just like rolled over for that shit. S you know?
yeah, I agree. I think the key difference here is that the dog has been hit enough times where it's starting to question things. I don't know if people, or I should put it this way. I think enough people have a bad taste in their mouth at the very least, if not a little bit curious um, as to why some of this stuff is going on. Because it doesn't pass the scratch and sniff test here.
Well, I just think in the future they have to. The main thing right now is to have this universal ID system. There has to be a universal ID system. There has to be a universal tracking system because moving into this 2030 thing and all these measures and all these taxes that are going to be associated with carbon tax. Like for example, I just realized yesterday I was driving some family member someplace, and I all of a sudden came to this realization about what's about to happen. And that is that I live on a road. It's a 2-lane road. It goes into the Silicon Valley. It's 2 lanes. It comes back. Now, on my road, 30,000 people a day travel on that road. Now, if they were to take that particular road and turn it into a toll road, there's no way over into the Silicon Valley except this road. Just like if you live on the Golden Gate Bridge, there's no way into San Francisco unless you go over the Golden Gate Bridge. So what they do is they charge $5 a direction on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, God, are you kidding me?
No.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
It's got to be the highest toll in North America.
Yeah.
Welcome to New York. You tried coming and going to Staten Island.
Gentlemen, take a breath. Take a breath. My friend and yours, Andrew Bartzis, has joined us for a quick hello. Andrew, how are you?
Hey.
Good. How you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Yes.
Andrew, have you met Jimmy? Jimmy, have you met Andrew?
No, I haven't. Nice to meet you, Andrew.
Yeah, and Andrew, you know John Z, right?
Oh, I know everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What's on your mind?
Strange and unusual things happening in a strange and unusual time that are creating strange and unusual explanations.
Welcome to
settles
Revolution
everything.
Radio. Yeah, welcome to Revolution Radio. You want a show?
I used to be on the station for years in a row.
I know.
I
remember.
12, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're just talking. This is my, I do this every morning from 10 to 12 Eastern Standard Time, MacDonald in the morning. And Fridays is usually just a group conversation. I usually do a book, by the way. So what am I finishing at? Jimmy, what am I finishing? Oh, yeah, The Secret Destiny of America by Manly P. Hall is what I'm finishing up now. But I've done everything. Gods of Eden, all kinds of stuff. Really interesting stuff. But, so we're just talking about everything and anything. And
So
I don't want to drag you into any politics or anything, Andrew, unless you want to talk about that. But go ahead, Jimmy.
yeah, I was gonna say. So when I came to this realization that it's not a toll road now, and there's no proposal for there to be a toll road, I all of a sudden came to this realization that they are going to take highways like this and make them into those type of toll roads, because at 30,000 cars a day, at just $5 one direction, just $5, you get to come back. Man, they're making $100,000 a day, 5 days a week. Okay.
Yeah, but that's one supervisor.
Yeah.
I'm just so then because this is gonna folds right into what I was talking about, the 2030 measures. So when they get these roads and they get these monies on these roads, now they've also been moving us here in America. They've been really heavy selling and heavy marketing this insurance by the mile thing. Okay, so now instead of and this goes.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding, and this goes along.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding.
Distance-based car insurance?
Yes. So
What is going on?
all right, so this has been going on for about a year now. Okay, so it started out with one company, then another. Now all the bigger companies are doing it now. So this is my personal speculation and projection. This is what I think. Now, because they've done this, now they've already set up the infrastructure to understand how many miles people are driving and going and each person's doing, right? So now the next thing is your insurance company, in my opinion, is going to hand you something like a dongle. When you get your insurance, you're going to get a dongle in the mail to put in your car. And so once you get that dongle, you're going to get the cheaper rates. But you have to keep that dongle in your car all the time. So, and by doing that, you're agreeing to the system. So now, once we've moved there, we're just inches away from that charging you tax by the mile situation that everybody, that.
You want to validate what you're saying? Go to the Underwriters of America school and look in their new policies and new classes that they're teaching. I have a variety of clients that are really big in the insurance industry, and they're struggling to figure out how to get new products to people and how to bundle products together. And it starts at the underwriter level. You could also check out the toll road tax, federal toll road law that they had enacted in 2009 for new toll roads, private toll roads, federally funded toll roads.
So this ties right into that giant speedway that goes from Canada all the way to Mexico through Texas.
Well, that was originally going to be one massive tax-free toll road. tax-free transportation through and tariff-free, but you paid a toll for the road, and they would maintain the road from Canada all the way into Panama, past Panama, because they have
I think it goes
So
right down to Argentina, I think.
yeah. Well, Bolivia is having a problem connecting the road. There is a road that connects it, but it's not truck capable the way they wanted it to be.
So do you see how I mean, it's just like sex, okay? It's like once you do this, you're just that far away from doing that. And once you do that, well, well, you,
Well, okay, we'll say we're at third base when it comes to this road.
well, I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah.
the civilization has been inched down the line, just like more and more kinky sex with a partner. It's like once you're willing to do this, well, you will. What's the problem with doing that? And so
Well, they definitely have America tied up right now.
So once we've gotten to the place where we're paying insurance by the mile, we're using cars as we need them, and we don't own them. We're moving into this place where we're slowly accepting the system, because at the end of the line, the world order taxing mechanism has always been based on this carbon tax, because they have to have a way to tax the populations if there is no border, based on the idea that your taxable income throughout your life is a certain amount of money that each company or each country holds as collateral for loans that they get to do whatever they're doing. That's why when someone gets killed, they say it's collateral damage.
Yeah, still 30 plus years away from borders being removed. They're not going to be able to remove borders in the next 10 years.
Well, let me tell you something. There's a place that exists where there are no borders, my friend, and it's called the internet. So we're already there, and
There's the internet protection rules. Absolutely.
yeah, the Belt and Road facility, once it's in place, I mean, they got. I was working at a facility in Nevada. It was a government facility. I was installing some cell site equipment for them to have wireless out there, and this was probably about 16 years ago I did this. And at that time, they had semi trucks running around oval tracks at 70 miles an hour, 24 hours a day out there. It's in the
Right.
middle.
It's part of the driverless feature that was what was actually included in the trade thing between Mexico, Canada, and America. It was to explore driverless vehicles.
So now imagine these roads.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
Jimmy, can you plug us, man? We're going to hit the break in about 60 seconds.
Revolution.radio, freedomslips.com. Come on down, come on over, come on down and see a man about a horse. Lady Horse is down at the bottom. You can send her a snail mail if you want to, and that's probably the best way if you don't like technology. If you like the technology, then come on up to the top of the page and find yourself a way to make a donation and keep free speech alive on the internet and beyond. Who knows where we are at this point? We do have a archive, and you can hit those up. They're free, and they're free because you guys have been working so diligently to help support us, and also sharing the station with other people. So this is MacDonald in the morning. Mine's Jimmy. I'm his friendly buddy that stops on by on Friday. We got John Z here. And is Andrew over there?
Yep.
Andrew Bartzis, yeah.
Yep. And man, we're coming up at the what is it, top of the hour? Is there an actual break at the top of the hour, Bruce?
Yeah, they're still the top of the hour break on the old studio. We've been Revolution Radio has been under severe denial of service attack since what is it, about the 6th or the 20th, right around the time Biden took over. So we're on backup servers now, and there's 1,000 monkeys working on the primary servers right now, Andrew. But yeah, it's been nonstop DNS attack. And another weird thing that happened was we went from typically having 50 or 75 people in our chat room to all of a sudden 1,800. And it just happened overnight, right? So there's a lot of stuff swimming under the water. All right, we'll see you on the other side, folks.
What, did you ditch it?
What?
Sounds like the network left. Did you ditch the network, Bruce?
Says he did.
He's still there.
Okay, good. Well, the network, if the network's there,
He's just muted.
okay. It's muted.
Bruce is
Oh,
muted.
God, I've been talking all this time. I'm sorry. Yeah, I dropped the server.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
you
Hey,
did.
hey, 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 hey.
Yo, I'm
We're on
talking
you-
on mute.
We're on YouTube, so just so you know.
Oh,
Alright.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Andrew, I don't want to drag you through an hour of radio here. We have another hour to do. I'm about 5,500 words out from the first draft. Please don't hurt me. I know I said Wednesday.
Relax,
Please
relax.
leave the fingers on my right hand,
Break
please.
his legs. Break his legs.
No, relax, man. I'd be fun having be on the radio with you guys. This is
Okay.
I don't have any sessions to do right now, so it's better than helping people go through their problems right now.
Okay, so we'll think of anything to talk about, and we'll take some callers, see what the unwashed masses are thinking. I'm
So-
bringing the mute up, guys. I'm bringing the studio back
Hey,
in.
hey, I got music when we come back.
Oh, fantastic.
It is no secret that the so-called mainstream media is best described as controlled propaganda. Countless news stories are either totally ignored or spun with half-truths, and because of this, essential facts and vital information are often compromised. Join Dr. Ott every Friday night on Studio B at 10 p.m. Eastern and learn why The Story Behind the Story was nominated for a Peabody Award in its second year of producing unparalleled broadcasting excellence in 1997. That is, if you really care about learning the truth.
Wadiya will remain a dictatorship. Or be quiet. Why are you guys so anti-dictators? Imagine if America was a dictatorship. You could let 1% of the people have all the nation's wealth. You could help your rich friends get richer by cutting their taxes and bailing them out when they gamble and lose. You could ignore the needs of the poor for healthcare and education. Your media would appear free, but would secretly be controlled by one person and his family. You could wiretap phones. You could torture foreign prisoners. You could have rigged elections. You could lie about why you go to war. You could fill your prisons with one particular racial group, and no one would complain. You could use the media to scare the people into supporting policies that are against their interests.
Tune in Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Liberation Nation with Deacon John, where America comes to hear the truth.
I know this is hard for you Americans to imagine, but please try.
All right, thanks for listening while we take that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And yeah, we're going to get back to your host.
Down a skin and bone. Watching neon sunsets to jukebox serenades.
My name's Jimmy. This is Revolution Radio. It's MacDonald in the morning. That's Ronnie Montrose. Gamma. Skin and bone. I'm down to skin and bone over here. Bruce?
I've been eating. I don't know if I mentioned this. I did in the beginning, but I've been eating about one meal a day for about 3 months now, and I've lost about 18 kilograms for about over 3 months. And it's not like I needed to lose any weight. I just, when I got married, you put on weight, right? My wife's always putting food in front of me, so I went to one meal a day. And yeah, I'm pretty lean now. I mean, I was like a 32, 33 inch waist 3 months ago. Now I'm a 30. But enough about dietary practices.
Well, you're fitting. I'm just saying, you're fit. You fit right in with the program. So people are going to be people are going to be eating less. One meal a day, and have a little meat. You know what? I think what you can do, Bruce. I think you can have meat once a week if you want to, and don't worry though. The meat will be super healthy meat, and we will eliminate you having meat 5 days a week or 7 days a week with the crappy genetically modified stuff. What we're going to do is we're going to allow you to have meat once a week, and we're going to give you the grass-fed stuff, the real good stuff.
Well, I grow my own meat, so...
No, I know. I'm just saying, if that's what it's going to be like, right? Isn't that what Klaus Schwab is telling us? He's saying, hey, man, crickets the rest of the week, meat once a week. How about that?
It'll be like the Great Depression. You can have macaroni and cheese 4 nights a week.
Do you guys know what the food most often referenced in the Bible is?
Bread.
Insects. Yeah, insects.
Man, that is a winning question in some $1 million game show right there. I'm just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's insects.
What?
It's insects.
We just needed the do 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 while John was thinking about it. I mean, I would have considered bread too, but I don't know.
I'll give you one example, right? So John the Baptist living on honey and locusts in the desert. Right? Can you imagine a diet of honey and locusts?
Ooh, you know what's actually pretty good? It's called the peanut butter grub. It's in Australia.
I'm gonna vomit here. Yeah. All right. Let's pick a topic and let's get a conversation going. What do we want to talk about? Do we please, not this election stuff.
No,
again,
no.
please.
I mean, I thought we were
aliens.
I thought we were talking about something, which was the Belton Road and the new idea of the trucks running on this road 24 hours a day without drivers, moving goods and materials.
Yeah.
What's so scary about that?
It's not scary. I think it's fantastic. I mean, it's going to lift 3/4 of the world that lives in poverty out of poverty. And because of this satellite system that's just been put up, there's internet on every square inch of the earth. So guys that didn't have, there's super smart people existing around this world that don't have access to anything. And the minute those minds become possible on the internet, the minute that these new minds come available with the technology that they could utilize now, people are making discoveries that are not from science, not using the rules and the ways that everybody else uses, because that's the way everybody has to do it. These new people are coming in and seeing ways of doing things and finding things in science that no one else has found with all their smarts. So I mean, the potential for the world to really be a great place and move into the future happy is there, but the problem is there's an intense resistance to anything that looks like what we're talking about, because there's going to have to be just as much advances as there will have to be new ways of being, and society will have to be reshaped in order to fit in with the new model. And so that's the issue, is that the old guard is still viable and they don't want to let go of the past. The new
because of the nature of corruption. Corruption has become so industrialized and pervasive now. The dream that you're talking about is an absolute impossibility, because all aspects of that dream and all the implementation process that will be corrupt from the top down, from the building of the road to the way that things are done. How do you interact with the cartels that are completely integrated to global corruption? Hey, I've said this on my own show many, many times. If you were to reduce the total global production by 10%, there would be no world starvation. People would have education. That's how pervasive global corruption is at all levels.
Yeah,
you're 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the thing is it's our system is based on competition instead of cooperation.
Competitive corruption.
Right.
Which is different than just competition. Competition still allows for innovation. Competitive corruption does not allow innovation.
But does
Yeah.
you can't be competitive and be cooperative at the same time. If you're trying to win the race, you can't cooperate with your dude who's in second and third place.
Well, in normal
From-
competition, you can't. In competitive corruption, you can't, because the winners are already determined in the corruptive process.
Right, so
Yeah.
that's what we're saying. We want to move out of that corruptive system, move away from a profit-based capitalist system into a resource-based cooperative system where building a road doesn't come out of anybody's hide. It's just what we do because we need to do that for our civilization.
Sure, but tell that to the Bain Capital or any of the other hedge funds that don't want to follow that concept.
Yeah, no, I mean,
You're not going to get them to change. You're not going to get even any of the congressmen or senators to change in any of the major countries.
well, the thing about it is, if we get into the internet that we're talking about with positive blockchain identification, where you're putting your ether.
I'm sorry, blockchain is a farce. And if anybody that's in anybody understands that anything can be hacked at any time,
I'm
and
sure.
to continue the farcical perception that blockchain's unhackable is ridiculous. COINTELPRO was hacked for $942 million in 2018. And if you look at all the major cryptocurrency organizations, they've all been hacked and robbed for billions of credits.
Yeah, I'm not talking about blockchain being hackable. I mean, I'm in technology, so let me just say, any technology that there is, whoever developed it can sell it to you and hack it. So it doesn't matter. There's a backdoor in everything. So it's not what we're saying. What I'm saying is, you have the concept of blockchain, and now you have the concept of quantum computing. So in a blockchain, in the current blockchain idea that you're talking about, it's ones and zeros, it's this and that. That can be hacked. But unless you got a quantum computer and you're operating in space that's neither here nor there, not one nor zero, not plus or 5 minus volts.
Uh-oh.
You're operating in there. You're stashing my information over in a place that you can't get to. So how are you going to hack?
Until you create an unentangled observer that's using quantum observation technology, which is the next level of hacking the unhackable.
Right.
And the quantum real is just as hackable. Just look at the observer-based technology.
But on that level,
you shouldn't have left zeros and ones with Andrew on the call, Jimmy.
No,
Bad
Andrew.
move.
I'm stoked on what I'm stoked on what Andrew's saying.
Okay.
The thing is like I understand what you're saying, and I know that this layer of control exists underlying everything. But what I'm saying on the basic man on the street level, as far as he's concerned, our ability to use this system that is developed here against the system, in the sense that when in California, we used to have to send our senators and congressmen up to Washington on the back of a horse, and he would have to go there. It would take him 3 months to get there, and we would tell him what we wanted, and he would go up there, and that he would represent us, and that was our representative government. But in a place where we have positive identification, and the populace can vote on whatever they want to vote on for themselves, and we could eliminate these senators and these congressmen.
Sure, but the journey to get there has already got the pathway of corruption that will prevent that from being a line of potential that the individual human being can have as something positive, real.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. They're already using quantum observer counterinsurgency technology to prevent that line of potential from opening up. And until each person has a quantum interactive computer in their own metaphorical hand, charting their own course, like a snowplow, getting rid of the corruptive obstacles ahead of them, using a precognitive workforce or a quantum precognition force. And until humanity has been given that layer of sovereign freedom to chart their own course, example, like right now we have 535 congressmen and senators that represent 380 million people. That's 0.000001 representation. If we were to have 10% representation, there would be 3.8 million representatives, and the corruption would be 3.8 million times more levels. So the elimination of government and the creation of this concept that you're talking about still means the individual person has to go through their journey of self-mastery to their own perception and point of view that takes the governing force out. So much of our philosophical and ideological concepts that try to bring a concept of a utopian, corrupt, cooperative society, the cooperative society is the farce right now, because corruption has literally corrupted cooperation out of us. and we have to learn a whole new system of cooperation that doesn't have the medium as the government. Just like the priest class and the religions defined what the religions were until individual people started practicing for themselves.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you
So,
wholeheartedly. And I just saw a lecture yesterday or day before yesterday. They were talking about the quantum computers and where they are actually, and where they're going to be, and how far it'll, and how far down along the line it'll be when exactly what you're talking about is going to happen, where there is a desktop quantum thing that exists in our lives somehow. But I mean, I think this is the age of age of Aquarius, and a lot of people are thinking that maybe this is a time for humanity to go through some sort of a philosophical change, some sort of a change where there are no masters, there are no slaves, right? That's what we really want, isn't it?
The cows have to stop accepting to be cows in the farm.
That's right. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's intense.
And we can't allow them to call us free range cattle anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
The whole idea of removing borders is just making us free range cattle.
Exactly. And that's why I was talking about the carbon tax thing being the thing that they need, because they have to have this basic way to get their funds. And so when they're moving us into this thing where I'm paying insurance by the mile, they're moving me closer and closer to this taxing me by the mile. Getting that.
We're still decades away from that.
Yeah.
They still got to get the people to buy it.
Well, the people
until another 25% of the boomer generation dies off, nobody's going to buy the mile. They created those products for companies like Uber and the rental car companies and the motorcycle rent companies that are taking over the big cities now. They had to create a product and a product line that these companies would buy, and then it would trickle into other concepts. Well, if these car companies take off, that means I don't have to have an insurance thing. The actually by the mile system is paid for by the company that's doing these rental car situations or rental bike situations, motorcycle situations.
Yeah, now they have cars that you don't have to own either, and so you can drive those cars and you can use them.
And it's a great idea. It's a great idea for those people that live in the city. You go to people in Montana, Middle Texas, Arizona, or any of the Midlands, they're all going to be like, no way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the other thing is too, there's this big fantasy about these electric vehicles and everything, and the federal government in the United States of America just recently declared that they're going to use all electric vehicles, and then Nancy Pelosi immediately spent $1 million bought some stock in Tesla. But what I want to bring up is, as they phase out these automobiles, these vehicles, these gas-burning vehicles.
I hate to interrupt you. I guarantee you that will be flipped over by next year, that the car companies will buy that out and say no.
Well,
the corruption is so pervasive. They cannot enforce stuff. Just like when they tried to change the gas laws, there's going to be a pullback, and that's going to flip over. I guarantee it.
So GM's fully signed on to it. They've got everybody's into it, and so where I was going with it was that right now you can just pull up and charge up your car somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's all not, like I said, it's just like sex right now. Hey man, come on over. You pull on in and fill on up with your electricity. But
until the gas companies come in and try to buy your woman out from you.
Right. Well, what's going to happen is
that's what's going to happen.
The price
gonna move right in and make some moves on her.
That's right. The price of gas.
You're not going to put your electric charging station next to my gas station.
No, you are gonna, because the gas is going to be about $10 a gallon with all the taxes on it, and you're going to pay more to fill up your car with electricity than you did to fill it up with gas. So anybody who thinks they're going to go buy some electric car and sit there and not pay for gas, you're going to pay for electricity. Unbelievable.
Do you know how many gas tractor trailers are on the road right now, gas and diesel on the road right now in just the United States?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Google it. Somebody Google it.
How many gas and diesel engines are on the road?
Tractor trailers. Just type in how many tractor trailers are on the road right now.
I'm agreeing with you, dude. I'm telling people. I'm
trying to add another layer here.
I'm trying to tell people that we all have this fantasy that we're going to sit there and buy an electric car and never pay for gas again, and we're never going to pay for nothing. And that's just not the fact. What's actually going to happen to us is as we move into these other vehicles, and we give up our gas vehicles, personally,
5 point.
We're gonna
5.4 million, right?
Yeah, 2 million semi trucks in operation and about 5.6 million semi trailers.
So
Wow.
that doesn't include Class B straight trucks. That doesn't include delivery trucks. The actual closer number is close to 11 million vehicles that are in your commercial system.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I got a question. For you, Andrew.
Mhm.
Not to put you on the spot, but how can you lay out the general framework of how do we get out of this corruption?
Good question. And until such a time there's a groundswell of people not accepting the philosophy and ideology of competitive corruption and doing their own thing while still figuring out how to live in the system, which is an individual journey into the self-awakening that it is a corruptive society that's based on competitive corruption, and I can't play their game, but I still must master my own game and create their own groundswell. Wall Street Bets is a classic example of cooperation that turned out kind of screwy at the end. They also should have sold at 300. Every single one of them should have. They all should have made their millions and walked away and created their own collective bank and continue and do it. But they didn't. And that is an example of how crowdsourced competitive processes can work. And how do we get there? It's still an individual journey where the individual has to go through the internal debate and battle with competitive corruption and how disempowering it is to them, and then learn to innovate their own way out of it, which includes spiritual hygiene practices such as meditation and stress reduction, or the classic self-help and motivation stuff, because that's going to be part of the 5 stages of grief that everyone goes through when you truly accept that the corruption is so pervasive that the next 7 generations have no potential chance. And therefore you put it on yourself in a non-martyred, non-zealotary stance in which true innovation, heartfelt innovation, that allows for the freedom and not to become obsessive compulsive about the subject matter, because it's the obsessive compulsive people that defeat their own movements. Just like some of the Trumpian movements that are around, I'm not going to name anything by name, it's the Karens and Kens that ruined those movements. And there's no self-policing of those movements. Therefore, you must be an individual movement of one who has gone through the journey of distilling and reducing the philosophy of competitive corruption so that your innovative journey isn't blocked by your own martyr ideas, blocked by your own pains and traumas of what the system has done for you, so that you can get a clear focus of this isn't rags to riches and this isn't competition with competitive corruption. My raw brain can figure out a journey for me and, like a snowplow, push out the objects ahead of me that are creating my own potential future individually. And then people will come together in micro collectives and crowdsource, we'll say, philosophical insurgencies.
Okay.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. Listen, have you ever heard of something called the Venus Project?
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Bruce? Have you heard of it?
I have not, no.
I got a little video, a little audio I can play here before the break, bottom of the hour, about the
Sure.
Venus Project if you want to hear about it. Now, I just
Sure.
want to preface it with this. The Venus Project spawned out of this 9/11 video that happened, the very first 9/11 video that came out that got really popularized, and I can't think of the name of it right now, what it was, but it was really big. And AJ down in Austin, Texas, promoted the video, and then the second thing that they came out was this Venus Project, and so Alex Jones, when it came out, immediately demonized it and said it was satanic, and it was of Satan because it had to do with Venus, and really he didn't want to give this any play. And so a lot of people didn't hear about it, so I want to run it. Here it comes, 1 minute and 22 seconds.
The Venus Project. The Venus Project offers a new socio-economic system that isn't capitalism, communism, socialism, nor fascism. It's nothing like anything that has ever been tried before. It's not a dictatorship, nor is it democratic. Yet it will achieve what all democracies have always tried to and never did: freedom from violence, abuse, coercion, and restrictions that are unnecessary and only serve a small minority at the expense of the rest. It is a system that works for all of us and the environment we depend on. It seems that society today is unable to provide many people with a high standard of living, although it has been technically possible to do so for quite a while. There are many technical solutions that have been around for many years for housing, transportation, creating clean, renewable energy, growing nutritious food, and providing clean water. But very little has been done to put them into practice due to the insufficiencies of the social structure we live in today. The Venus Project offers a system that would invite those technologies in, shorten the workday, and raise the standard of living higher than what most people realize possible. We invite you to learn about the Venus Project.
So there it is, conceptually.
See, this is what I've got to say about that. That is the cart before the horse. What I had just said is individuals have to come to determination with it. They're creating something that would come after there's an individual groundswell, and then the competitive insurgency for crowdsourcing change. There's still a long way for individuals to battle the traumas of what the system has done and go through their own self-realization and the generation of their new inner ideology and philosophy.
It is an absolute honor to meet you and be in this conversation with you. Thank you so much for your contributions to what we're talking about, because this is, I mean, you're right. And the ground, I have a friend by the name of Carl Street. He's a businessman. And him, we talk quite a bit, and he's got a concept of this, a crazy idea of this electronic anarchy. In other words, if everybody was
crowdsourced insurgency.
Exactly. So for example, let's say a road needs to be built. They need X amount of dollars, and each one of us has X amount of dollars in tax money to invest in projects in our area. If you take away the money, the thing dries up. So if nobody supports it with their dollars, then these bullshit projects that don't go anywhere, are not necessary to society, get eliminated. And is this the kind of concept you're talking about?
Even that's still cart before the horse. If you want to break it down to what it's going to take for proper crowdsourced insurgencies to have their own natural groundswell and not be manipulated. Example, I'll use the whole change to everyone betting on silver, going on silver. That was an organized counter insurgency process. Right now, there's 1 physical ounce of silver to every 250 ounces sold. But guess what? They weren't able to crash the market. It's so controlled that everyone that jumped into silver bought paper, and you're never going to see the paper, and the government's never going to fix that. The same thing comes with, even if you're a businessman that has a tremendous amount of clout, if you're not in the pay-to-play-it system and you're trying to generate crowdsourced insurgencies, the system will fight back. Therefore, the innovative entrepreneur has to find a section of an ideology and create teachers in that ideology, fundamental groundswell of teachers that can have an online learning platform that begins to teach new ways of thinking that includes trauma reduction, trauma acknowledgement, of how the system has traumatized people with just their ideologies, and then grow that process and know that this is going to be a 10-year journey, and insurgencies don't win the war overnight. So once you grow the teachers of the ideology, you will then have new innovative people. All the while, the people that aren't on the journey, they're still going to be doing what's going to be out there in public. Now, if I were a businessman, and had a significant amount of money and wanted to create real change that didn't have a backlash that would put me in jail or put me on TMZ as the next evil person of the world, because that's what they do. That those are still real world things that can be done. And that would be creating an existing company that innovates with existing companies and then crowd sources funding for new innovative ideas. So that is your journey in self-education and self-marketing, so that when the big boys come in, you have a Wall Street Bets that already protects your idea in the social media engine.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about...
I'm just finished. You have to have all those common social media ancillary systems, and that's why creating an idea, a set of companies that are going to be cooperative sharing a new technology.
We're coming up on the break here at the bottom of the hour. My name's Jimmy. It's freedomslips.com. It's Revolution Radio.
It's a manual break on the old server, Jimmy. So you put a song on for us that's going to go about 4 minutes that nobody will sue us over copyright. 4. I get a preposition at the end of my sentence there. 4. We'll be back, folks. 3 or 4 minutes. Bruce McDonald in the morning, Friday, February 5th.
It's Revolution Radio. It's MacDonald in the morning. Mine's Jimmy. It's Chris Cornell. I needed it to hit that chord to raise the frequency, ladies and gentlemen. Raise your vibration if you can. Get grounded. And what a fantastic conversation, Bruce. I am honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me and including me.
This is my daily now as I etch out this book. So I eat different. I sleep different. Everything is different now. Each one of these books it's almost like method acting. It's like Robert De Niro taking on a role. My whole life changes. This one is extremely positive. The last two were a bit spooky. And I find myself just spontaneously crying a lot. I'm almost ashamed to admit that, but it's true. I find myself walking around my property and I'll look at my dog and I'll just start crying, right? He'll catch my eyes. And this just started working on Andrew's book. So it's really cleaning me out. It's really kind of beautiful, and I really needed it.
I think you should
working on. It's like a spiritual retreat working on this book.
I think you should flesh that out a bit, because I don't think people listening realize that you're working on your next book with Andrew, and Andrew is the person you're working on the book with. So you're getting kind of a taste of kind of what maybe you guys are talking about. And so I don't. Let people know. You guys got a thing coming on. You guys are working on a project.
Oh yeah. Well, we're not worried about marketing yet. We're about 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out on the final draft. But yeah, it's a beautiful project to work on, and just absolutely grounding. There's a few terrifying spots. Like there's some things I probably would have been happier had I not known. But now I know them and I'll deal with them.
You can't unlearn them either.
Yeah, it's the off-world stuff, right? The 4,300 bases outside our solar system, and 180 billion people have been put on them. And there's so much going on down here. It's mind-boggling, folks. Every time I think I have a handle on it, I go to another context, and the old context is just no longer relevant. Much like these political processes we've been kicking around, and this is how it happens when consciousness changes. The social structures around the group consciousness, they naturally fall away. What they're doing now, and what they're getting really good at, is locking in consciousness. I mean, this whole digital world is it's like drying cement, right? It's just you get caught in it, it's like you got your foot caught in a sidewalk panel that dried around your ankle, and you can't go anywhere, right?
Seems to be no natural progression of the human race, because our forward progress is going to be completely socially engineered through the system. So we haven't been able to come to a collective spiritual consciousness on the planet, because we are compartmentalized into these social engineering bubbles that keep us apart and keep us separated, and ultimately keep dividing and dividing and dividing and dividing into smaller and smaller groups that hate each other. So there's so much static in the space on the planet, within the sphere, within our energetic field, between the grounding of the earth, the energies that are flowing through us, our magnetics, our concept of this etheric vibration that we send out through our luminous egg, as a person, as a being, as a creator in the reality.
Yeah. John Z, you've been quiet for quite a while. What's on your mind?
Oh, good question. Well, speaking of off-world bases and a bunch of people.
Did you not just hear my soliloquy about crying and feeling good? Are you going to turd in the punch bowl?
What?
No, he's gonna add some liquid chocolate.
Go ahead, John.
We call that inking in the military.
You're going to ink my punch bowl? Yeah, go ahead.
So my question is, you know, there's a lot of, everyone has their own opinion on how things work and what might happen and how it's going to happen and all that stuff. My question is um, how how is quote unquote disclosure going to get to a point um, where people talk about um, we'll just call it the fourth dimension, dreamtime, space exploration, aliens, off-world beings, that type of stuff. Like, how do we get from where we are right now, which in my opinion, I think a lot of the world is super close-minded to this stuff. The minute you bring up, I've seen a UFO or an alien, a lot of people are just
So what
like,
you're so what if I'm hearing you right, what you're saying is that exopolitics is becoming a dividing issue. The people who can't accept it think the people who are engaging it as part of their socio-political reality are being evasive, or it's a form of escapism, and they're not addressing the reality. And is this what you're talking about?
yes, I am actually.
Yeah, I see it too. I'll give you my answer first. Well, in the past, you've been told. I think 2021 and forward, more and more people are just going to be shown. Being told disclosure is one thing, being shown is another. Hey, what's that up in the sky? Remember how my whole cycle of books started that led me to this third one with Andrew? I started a book with John Edmonds in 2012. I didn't believe him. Then an orb appeared over my earth bag house in Costa Rica. I called up John Edmonds. I said, "You want to finish that book now?" So it happens when it happens, right? And I think a lot. I think that I could be wrong, but I think the barrier is getting thinner and weaker between the fourth and the third dimensions. Anybody?
I actually think that there are no barriers between the fourth and the third dimension, and that's been going on for a very long time. I think disclosure has already been done, and like what you had just said, it's the divisiveness. And just as the divisiveness is in politics, example, you have a Marjorie Taylor Greene, a conspiracy theorist person who finally made it to Congress. Well, it took 230 years of our congressional things for somebody that was non-secret society to come out and actually come out and be at that level. So disclosure has already happened. Accepting disclosure, that's a longer term journey. And this comes back to the individual, once again, accepting their part in the thing. One of the biggest lies that has been perpetuated by the divisive world is that it's a collective awakening. It was never meant to be a collective awakening. It was meant to be an individual awakening that takes you on the journey of de-traumatizing yourself from the compartments of social engineering that have guided you into non-free will choices in your mind, even though you think it was free will. And as you begin to release those traumas and accept that your responsibility is equal to your level of awareness, and your level of awareness is equal to your responsibility, and you will no longer allow foreign concepts to change your responsibilities. And unfortunately, a lot of disclosure changed people's levels of awareness and responsibilities, which created heavy-based traumas inside them, which caused an entire generation of people to be hermits that aren't learning how to be social anymore. And as we begin the greater journey into accepting that disclosure is already there, and how do we crowdsource a new evolution into the revolution that's there individually?
Yeah, I mean the time for revolution is over, and it is time for evolution, I believe. And I've been involved in technology for a long time. I live in the Silicon Valley. I've been installing stuff. I've worked for every single giant company. I've worked for Apple. I've worked for IBM. I've worked for Hewlett Packard. I've worked for Varian. I've worked for all these companies. Throughout my career, I've done everything in this industry, including working on a board scrubbing machine that was, I was outside of a room that was filled with black oxide, and this dude told me if the alarm goes off, he goes, "Don't even bother running, dude. It's over." So, I mean, this,
But that's a bit funny in a
huh?
morbid way.
Yeah. So
in a black
That's the
plague
fun stuff.
1665 way. That's funny.
I know it is funny, but the thing is, I know what the technology is. I mean, I build and help build labs in a lot of these companies out here. Like right now, Google bought, believe this or not, everybody, Google leased the old Naval Air Base Moffett Field for 60 years. Now, I just want to put this. I want to put this in perspective. First of all, it's a giant facility. Second of all, do you know what it takes to build an airport now? You cannot build an airport, but they have their own airport right there, including the hangar, the old
the blimp hangar.
Yeah.
I used to live right there. In off of in San Jose.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, have you been here recently? I mean, it's pretty much.
Last time I was there was 2010. 2000 roughly 2010. Yeah.
It's unbelievable what's happened to this place. I mean, it's gone out of control as far as how much it costs. But anyways, getting back to the technology thing. So Toyota came in here. They built a big robotics facility in conjunction with Stanford. So, we're moving into an age of robotics. We're moving into an age of AI and AGI, eliminating a lot of these cubicle farm jobs. We're moving into a future where a lot of people that were non-essential as a result of whatever's been going on in these measures are really going to be not having a job to go back to, and people are going to have to start figuring out what else it is they're going to be doing to, for a living. And so
back to innovation.
Exactly, back to innovation. Now we don't need to bring manufacturing back to America. It doesn't look like people project it to be, where these companies coming in and doing all that. Because now we have 3D printing, and you can have manufacturing on a micro scale. So you could have these pod communities with access to high-speed internet from the satellite that are existing anywhere. You can manufacture and do everything right there for yourselves. Build your community in a circular fashion with some sort of a common area where you have an aquaponics garden that's growing enough food to feed the whole village.
Yeah.
So this.
Yep.
Okay, I'm pulling the red card. Your common sense is being revoked, sir.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. What can I do to get it back? Can I pay a fine, or is it gone forever?
You gotta huff some nitrous oxide.
All right.
Yeah, I'm all about that circular food economy up here. My father-in-law, when he passed last year, about a year and a week ago, he left a beautiful tilapia pond, and nobody's been maintaining it, and a little bit, but I got to get that going again. But yeah, I've been looking at aquaponics too. I don't know. I might even do greenhouses over here. I don't know, but
yeah, I mean, the thing is, Bruce, that the idea too with the greenhouses is that when you do your aquaponics, even though you're growing stuff outside too, but if you have a greenhouse area, what you're getting is food that's not being contaminated by the stuff that's falling out of the sky. Whatever they're utilizing for these,
I don't know how much these particulates move with the chemtrailing, but there is no chemtrailing in Costa Rica. I've seen photos of planes over San Jose, the city, once or twice in the 6 years I've been here. But I don't know why, but they're leaving this place alone.
What they do is when people see that, like, oh, I saw an X in the sky. I saw an X, and then it spread out. What that is, ladies and gentlemen, is they hit an X and then they watch it on radar and see which way the wind's blowing, and that's how they determine how they're gonna propagate whatever aerosol disbursement they're gonna drop. But anyway, back to what we were saying. Clean food and growing your own. I mean, it's even possible, if you're in an urban environment, man, you can grow little vertical gardens right there in your own house. Use a fish tank, go down and buy some cheap goldfish, grow yourself some herbs, man. Chop up some fresh herbs, microgreens in your kitchen, that kind of thing. Do the stuff that you can do for yourself. Because realistically, the only way to change the world is to change yourself. And if enough people change themselves and move in a certain direction, like we're talking about here today, that's exactly the moment. It's that moment where maybe that the scales will tip in a certain direction and people will go autonomous and realize they don't need we don't understand what it would be like to have a structure where there wasn't a leader. There's always been a leader. There's always been the leader of the tribe, the guy that went out and was able to, bring back the meat. There's always been, everybody's always been looking up to somebody to bring it to them and provide for them. And I think what we've been talking about, what you're saying, is taking responsibility for yourself. And realizing that there is nobody needs to tell you what's good and what's right and what's wrong. No, obviously the people that we've entrusted to tell us, make sure that our food's safe and everything's water's safe and all this, obviously they don't have our best interests at heart. So the next thing is, well, if you don't have my interest at heart, then why don't we just do our own thing? Make sure your own water's good. Make sure you got your own clean food. Make sure tilapia, what a great fish to grow. I mean, out of the fish, I don't like.
Well said. Yeah, 10 years ago, I made a decision to invest in my own autonomy, and the dividends are better than Bitcoin or silver right now. Autonomy is the way, folks. We're social animals. Actually, I'm more social here than I've ever been in my life. I have a gazillion nieces and nephews. They're sleeping here every night. I routinely feed 8 people a day, even though I only have one wife and no kids. And but at the same time, it's evolved out of this journey of autonomy I went on. And it's frightening, man. It's frightening to move to a strange place and build a home out of the earth and start growing food and all of that stuff. There's ups and there's downs, but when you wake up that one day and you go, my God, I think I'm pretty close to autonomous here. I got like an internet bill, a little bit of gas for my ATV, and salt, rice, and beans, and the rest I pretty much have up here. It's a great relief, especially as we go into the chaos we're going into now. And the chaos is caused by interdependence with these systems, and they know it. And they're doing the micro and macro loosh harvests all the time, man. This intentional energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like probably 1 million metric tons of loosh left the planet on January 20th, man, when Biden came in, and on the 6th too. So they're grabbing up our loosh is your intentional energy. It's your unmanifest thought. Generally, you feel it around your solar plexus, but it's all your emotions and stuff. And they just that intentional energy is like a fuel in other dimensions. We got under economy. Economy is the key word to tie all the dimensions together, at least the dual ones.
I came to this realization the other day that we were going through some ancient documents in a discussion on a show. I was on the Kev Baker show. We were talking about something, and I came to this realization the other day that originally man's spiritual connection to God didn't revolve around a building or a place. And I came to this realization the other day that these cathedrals and all these churches, that our spiritual ideology was compartmentalized and focused into this one point where we would go and do this worshiping and this prayer and this liturgy, and then create these frequencies and generate energy, so that these were focal points. These cathedrals are focal points and energy harvesting mechanisms.
It's the sacred geometry system.
Yeah. Give us 60 seconds on that, Andrew. That's a fascinating topic.
So the sacred geometry system was created, well, you can go back long before the pyramids. Buildings that were created in a high energy space. And then as the degradation of human society from 22,000 years to about 10,000 years ago took over, and you had the lizard-based society, the ones that try to re-educate people post-disaster type concept, where they wanted to take over as the false gods. They just hijacked the existing high energy places and put religious worship concepts on that. And as that degraded and the 5 major religions took over, they hijacked those existing sites. So there's several hijacked sites on top of a hijacked site that has this power of myth behind it, that uses the energy and the sacred geometry orientation of being attracted to those areas, and the myth that's within there, and then the myth that becomes living legend, and the myth that jumps generations, that connects into collaborative reincarnation as soul families who are repeating the many layers of hijacked concepts that are there. So just as I said before, there is a priest class who hijacked the ability for people to individually connect to the land on their own. And that's one of the reasons they removed the indigenous elders and teachers throughout the world, is because they didn't need a priest class. They were there to train you at a skeleton basis of how to connect to the lands on your own.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't wait for your book to come out, man. I'll tell you right
It's
now,
good.
that was
It's good.
absolutely mind-blowing and concise. And
Welcome to my world.
hey, so I want to ask
Three
a
times a
question.
day, my wife says, "What's that stupid look on your face?" It's that I can never explain it in Spanish.
Let me.
I can barely do it in English.
We only have a few minutes left. Let me throw this in here now. What about the ley lines that used to exist, and these PowerPoints that were on these ley lines in relation to this sacred geometry, in relation to the cymatics and the formation of different flower of life patterns in the very fabric of the universe?
So the sacred geometry cities and facilities that are out there have created a second ley line system. And I want you to think of it like a series of canals. And there's a canal that, like a lock that connects the canal. You've got to take energy from one side, fill the canal up, and let the object go to the other side, open the doors on the other side. And oftentimes, like when they use canals to flood fields, they will take energy from the original system, put it into the fake system, and sometimes take energy from the fake system and put it back into the real system to counter flood fields. And then you go back even more generations. The original pyramids were there to amplify the existing ley line grids. But then there were other objects that were created to literally, just like carving a man-made canal thousands of miles long, certain objects and certain religious-based objects carved canals that went deep underground that created a whole new multi-dimensional layer of ley lines that weren't just on the surface. Because the ley lines, they move 20 to 50 kilometers a day based off of the passing of the seasons, the movement of the tides. And there's a secondary set of ley lines that are more closer to the Earth's core that generates the hollow Earth's capacity to hold life force. But just on the subsurface, there's just like in the donut the donut concept of brain fart here.
Yeah,
the toroidal field, there's
Right.
that donut space.
Yes.
There's a space in between the crustal places, and they try to connect the two systems through these forced canals, which allows wormholes and portals of energy to take and harvest loose from the surface and then manifest it in the subsurface as usable energy in their direct manifestation technologies.
Wow. That's mind-boggling. Let me sum up here. So this is MacDonald in the morning. It's Friday, February 5th. Sorry, Jimmy. And we've just been having a loose conversation here for the last hour, as we usually do on Fridays. I get off my book. I want to just briefly introduce everybody again. We got John Z. We got Jimmy Jean. Jimmy Jean's over on Aftermath FM with Clyde Lewis. Thursday nights, what time, Jimmy? You're doing a 1 hour Into the Microcosm?
Yes.
Fantastic last night, by the way. Fantastic debut.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it's 6 Pacific Thursday night in between Alex Jones and Clyde Lewis for 1 hour Into the Microcosm, and it's super fast moving because we only got 60 minutes, so we don't have time to mess around. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to bring people through and showcase people that a lot of these other shows don't pay attention to, and try to give people. Yeah, so I'm hoping.
You can hold on a sec. You can catch up with Andrew at the Galactic Historian. He also does a every Friday a comedy show with our very own Monty Dean. What time is that on, Andrew? Hello?
Sorry, I was muted. It's every other Friday, and it's to this Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. You can catch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and a variety of other places. You just go to my website, andrewbartzis.com, or just go to Facebook or YouTube, and you'll see our live shows.
Sweet, I'll be there. Hey, listen, have you guys ever heard of Mike Dawes?
Yeah, the name sounds familiar. Yeah.
One man, one guitar. Ladies and gentlemen, Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. Come on down, become a patron. Come on down, support free speech. This is what we do. This is a conversation right here. It's organic. It happened in the moment. It's never going to happen again. And you were here. and you're only here because you supported free speech last month. You know, and if you're here and you didn't support us, that means someone else paid it forward. My name's Jimmy. It's MacDonald in the morning. He'll see you on Monday, won't you? Won't you?
I will. I'll
Mike,
be here.
Mike Dawes.
Later.
All I can say is, wow. Wow. That was one of the most intense radio discussions I've ever had. That dude is intense. I'm telling you right now, that was I'm blown away. Listen, I got a pipe leaking under my house, and I got to go crawl under there and figure out what's wrong with it. So I got I gotta go, so I can't stick around. So we'll be back tonight at 11 Pacific with the show, and we're stoked. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad you guys were here to hear that. That was literally mind-blowing, man. All right, we'll see you guys later. I gotta go fix a leak under my house.
I feel